recognise the previous people who have been mentioned.
Thank you for joining us today, and I hope to see you again at our future events.
I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay our respects to elders past and present. Welcome to another Affinity Lunch. My name's Barry Unsworth, and I'm a member of the Affinity Advisory Board. For those who've never attended an Affinity event before, let me briefly introduce you to the organisation. Affinity was formed by a group of young Muslim Australians in 2000. Their aim is to promote multiculturalism and foster intercultural and interfaith dialogue by building bridges between different groups in society. I'd now like to introduce today's facilitator, Judith Whelan. Judith is the head of spoken content at ABC Radio, in which she oversees Radio National, the ABC local radio stations in Australia's capital cities, Grandstand, and the newly formed audio studios concentrating on podcasts. Judith was previously editor of the Sydney Morning Herald. In her 30-year career in journalism, Judith has worked as a writer and editor in news and features both in Australia and overseas. Please join me in welcoming Judith Whelan to the rostrum.
Thanks, Barry, for that wonderful introduction. And I'm delighted to be here with you all today. Before I introduce our main speaker, Catherine Byrne, I'd like to acknowledge the distinguished guests in the room. And they include Barry Unsworth, former Premier of New South Wales, Catherine Byrne, Paul Green, member of the New South Wales Legislative Council. Paul, hey. Karl Hartleb, the Austrian Consulate General in Sydney. Juan Manuel Molina, the Consul General of Spain. Yoko Kubo, the Consul from the Consulate General of Japan in Sydney. Special Agent Abdul Malik from the Office of Regional Diplomatic Security for the US Consulate. Sunail Hasnain Khan, the Senior Project Manager for Transport for New South Wales. Tony Long, the Commander of Engagement and Intervention Unit and Counter-Terrorism and Special Tactics Command, New South Wales, for the New South Wales Police Force. Jane Anderson, the Manager of Multicultural Engagement for TAFE, New South Wales. Inspector Dwayne Carey. Greg Rochford, the CEO of the Neurodevelopmental and Behavioural Paediatric Society of Australasia. Michael Carr, the Acting Chief Executive of AIS, and Richard Bronowski from AIIA, and also Professor Anne Brewer from the University of Newcastle. Welcome. I'd also like to thank the Istanbul Street Bazaar Shop, the generous sponsor of today's event. And now I'm delighted to introduce today's keynote speaker, New South Wales Police Deputy Commissioner Catherine Byrne. Catherine's a career police officer. She joined the police force at the age of 19, and her career has covered all areas across the New South Wales Police Force, including general duties, detectives, homicide, major crime, internal affairs, counter-terrorism, and corporate areas. In July 2010, she was appointed to the position of Deputy Commissioner Corporate Services, and this was with the responsibility of managing a $2.7 billion budget and the development and implementation of corporate service strategies. In October 2012, Deputy Commissioner Byrne was appointed Deputy Commissioner Specialist Operations, where she had oversight of a number of technical and specialist areas, including counter-terrorism and special tactics, forensic services, operational communications, police prosecutions, aviation support, Marine Area Command, Traffic and Highway Patrol, the Police Transport Command, and Public Affairs. My goodness, quite a few. She was also the New South Wales Law Enforcement Representative on the Australian-New Zealand Counter-Terrorism Committee. I have to say that I actually got to know Commander Byrne on this fantastic program that she runs, where members of the community are brought into sort of police headquarters and given experience of police operations. And it was utterly amazing. You know, we got to drive police cars and tried to crash them. We went on, pseudo police chases. We got to fire guns. We got to strip down a gun, and it gave us an amazing understanding of the sorts of things police are asked to deal with. Kath, it was an amazing facilitator of that program. So thank you very much. In 2016. Deputy Commissioner Byrne was awarded the University of New South Wales Alumni Award for Social Impact and Public Policy. Deputy Commissioner Byrne is also an Australia Day ambassador. So we are very, very lucky to have her with us today. She'll be presenting a talk titled, "What is the Price of Safety? The Role of Policing in Our New Security Environment." And in this, she'll be talking about the role of policing in our new security environment, the wider impacts of this environment and what it means for public safety. She'll outline the threat that exists, as well as the changes to policing as an outcome of this increased threat. She'll also give us some statistical evidence around terrorism, and we'll conclude by pointing out that things are actually not as bad as we tend to think, which is good to look forward to. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Deputy Commissioner Catherine Byrne to the floor.